So today let's explore the donated solar garden light. You basically just stick it in the soil and it recharges using this solar panel and illuminates this LED. And of course this one can be folded like this, so it doesn't have the sharp spike and it's shorter when it's still in the shop. There's nothing interesting here, just a tube, a piece of plastic, this plexiglass bit, and it reduces to the top of it. 2022 is the date code. It probably has been sitting for some time. It doesn't light up. It might be just empty battery, but let's try to open it and see the internals of it. There is no switch on it. How does it even open? If you're even supposed to open it, of course. These things are sort of disposable nowadays. And that's it. This cover. A tiny battery in it, a rechargeable nickel metal hydride battery or a cell, just 40 milliamp hours, made in 2022. The LED here, some resistor. It's actually an inductor and some chip, and that's actually it. Not much in it. And is this actually broken? It was actually held in place using this. I guess there was a piece of paper stuck here, so it doesn't discharge in the shop. The solar panel seems to have 4 cells, which would produce about 2 volts open circuit, but less when it's loaded. This is probably just a single cell, 1.2 volts, and to power the LED, a white LED which drops about 3 volts, you need a boost regulator. This inductor is part of the boost regulator and everything else is in the chip. Some sunlight is coming through a window conveniently and it's producing about 2.36 volts when the battery wasn't making a contact. Otherwise it's pulled down to a very low voltage, and the battery itself is just 0.1 volts. And after some time the cell actually got to 1.45 volts, so it's actually charging at about 6 milliamps, which will charge it in about 10 hours. And when I cover the cell, the LED does actually light up, it's working. And the boost regulator goes straight into the LED without any smoothing. When I connect it, you can see a 500 kHz square wave almost. Of course the probe is times 10 and not times 100. Now the voltage reading is right, about 3 volts on the white LED. Or this is the peak to peak, this is the peak voltage. A bit less than 3 volts because it's quite a low current. It would drop 3 volts at its full current. And the waveform on the inductor is the same as on the LED, just DC shifted by the voltage of the battery. And here's the inductor marking, brown, red, brown, silver. Which you can put in my online calculator and you find out it's 120 microhenry inductor plus minus 10%. And the chip not only works as a boost regulator but also turns the LED off when the panel is illuminated. So the solar panel also doubles as a dusk sensor. I gave it a slightly bigger cell, AAA, instead of this one which is almost empty. This draws about 4 milliamps from it, which means this 40 milliamp hour one would last about 10 hours. This one is 1000 milliamp hours or 800 in reality, but maybe it wouldn't even charge given the very low current from the solar cell. I've disconnected one pin of the LED and the current into the LED is 1.6 milliamps. Of course it's a boost regulator, it increases the voltage so the current has to be lower. If you double the voltage the current has to halve. If it was 100% efficient, in reality it's less than half. And here is the super complex schematic, and the currents when the panel isn't illuminated. The chip in it has to contain some diode in it to charge the cell. The nickel metal hydride cell from the solar cell, of course. Here it senses if the panel is illuminated to know when to turn the LED off. And it has to contain some switching transistor which switches this point to the 0 volt rail at 500 kHz. When the transistor is on, the current goes from the nickel metal hydride cell into this inductor and the inductor accumulates energy. There's about 1.2 volts here and almost 0 here, or basically the voltage drop of this transistor. And when the transistor turns off, the polarity changes. Now this end of the inductor is positive in reference to this one. This spot still has 1.2 volts from the battery or cell, but the voltage of the inductor is adding to it, so you get about 2.7 volts needed to run a white LED at a low current. And now it's basically using the energy from the inductor or its core. And the LED basically limits the voltage here. The voltage would go higher here if it wasn't loaded by the LED. And after some time the cycle repeats, the transistor turns back on and it again stores energy in the inductor for the next cycle. Without the LED connected, the switching is quite irregular, and the voltage actually shoots up to about 12 volts. I've put the LED back, And of course in a typical boost regulator you'd have a diode here and some capacitor here, but for an LED it's not necessary. It can run without this diode and this capacitor using a pulsed current instead of a smooth current. And this was just a short video because I'm spending a lot of time renovating a house. But in the next video I plan to take a look at this, an isolated probe for an oscilloscope. This one might be quite interesting, especially for measurements inside switching power supplies on the primary side. It can even measure the waveform on the gate of the high side MOSFET in a half bridge, or a 2-switch forward, or a buck regulator, where the source of the MOSFET has high frequency, high voltage on it, and so it's almost impossible to connect a normal grounded oscilloscope probe to it. That's it, and if you like my videos, please consider subscribing, supporting my channel on Patreon or using the thanks button. And big thanks to all of you who already support me. And should I also show some dodgy wiring in the house and explain how house wirings were done in the old days?